Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time. That is right. The greatest league in the world, the National Football League, is back. And the only thing better than watching the NFL is cashing off the NFL. Join us for our NFL Week 1 Best Bets. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the Degen Docs on DFSGP Plus. Woo! It is time. NFL Week 1 is finally here. We've been waiting for months and months for this day. I hope you're just as jacked as I am. Who am I? I'm one of your hosts here, the Degen Doc, and more importantly, I am joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
My guy, we got like 2 days until the NFL is back.
Yes, let's go,
I mean,
man.
It's been a long
You know,
offseason.
I feel like it was just this weight of we hit February, we come off our high, off the climax, and then we come down, and it just feels like years and years and years. And then I feel like we kind of just like hit August, and then boom, all of a sudden we're college football's here, and then we got the NFL Week 1, and
Right.
It's amazing. So look, folks, we are jacked for football. We hope you're excited.
The long-awaited 207 days is about
207 long days
to be done.
Yes, we are about to reach NFL Week 1. It's the best time of the year. I don't care what anybody says. And what are we doing today? We are talking NFL Week 1 Best Bets. The way this is going to work, folks, first of all, welcome to the first NFL show of the year. If you were with us last year, the Degen Docs, welcome back. If you're new, cheers to you. The way this is going to work is we are going to start the show off with talking a little banter, talking a little bit of, hey, it's been a while since we've talked football. Let's see what's changed around the league a little bit. Then we'll get into our 3 best prop bets for NFL Week 1. Then we've got 4 what we call Doc's prescription, or our best bets. That's money line, spread, over-under bets. And then we have a nice Degen parlay for you guys. Pretty juicy. You're going to want to stick around for that. And then finally, we do a Thursday night preview typically, but today, as we have Friday Night Football, we get a special Thursday night and a Friday night preview where we get an in-depth breakdown of both the Thursday night matchup for NFL kickoff and the Friday Brazil game. So we've got a ton to get to here. So let's jump into it, brother. Without further ado, we've been talking some college. We haven't talked NFL in a while. I've been traveling, doing all these things, but something happened recently, something kind of big.
Folks, we have a trade.
We have a trade, and boy, was it a trade. The Micah Parsons, who, we saw this contract battle. He's sitting out, blah, blah, blah. We've seen it all the time. Trey Hendrickson, Terry McLaurin, James Cook, it all gets resolved. Except when the owner's Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones does whatever the hell Jerry Jones wants to do. Man, I want to get your reaction here. Cowboys send off Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. What is your instant reaction? Like, now you've had some time to process, I guess. Where are you at with this trade?
I'm thankful, for one, because when we did our division previews or team previews, I had the Packers in the top 2 for the NFC North there. So this should definitely help that stock. But in general, like you said, I mean, it was more of a surprise. Like, you don't let a player like Micah Parsons, he's 26 years old, he's in his prime of his career, leave your team. I mean, yes, Jerry Jones is, known as a riverboat gambler. He does some funky things, lets whoever just walk around the practice facility from time to time. Obviously, you got to pay for that because, it's the Dallas Cowboys. You got to pay for things. But, very, very surprising. I think, obviously we're both healthcare professionals, doctors of physical therapy. My bigger concern, I guess you could say, was like, the announcement yesterday when Shefty came out and said, like, hey, this dude still might need an epidural for this facet sprain.
Yeah.
Whatever he called it. And it's like, one, I don't know if Shefty saw the video of him running around his apartment, like hopping around, but like the dude looked fine.
Yeah.
And two, like $188 million should fix any facet pain that
Yeah,
you have.
right. Yeah, no, that report, and I will do a more in-depth breakdown. If you want some defensive injury news, I will be putting out on Thursday on the IDP Plus channel a in-depth kind of review, excluding Micah Parsons, a bunch of injuries there. So you could look forward to that. But just quickly, like, yeah, facet joint pain one isn't the biggest deal. It's not as big of a deal structurally as like Matt Stafford's,
Correct.
issue, and you really don't get an epidural for it. So it was a really weird report that medically doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
So, but the biggest thing is we saw him in a drill, hitting a pad, extending his back with some force with it. I think he's going to be okay.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, look, as a Giants fan, I'm happy to get him out of the division. As somebody who was not super high on the Packers, not the Cowboys either, but I saw the NFC North going a little bit differently. Not the best there. Go ahead and check out that preview. You still got time to check that out, so I won't fully divulge the cards. But crazy news. I want to get your take on that, and then one more really quick. Rashee Rice. It was this weird. Is he going to get suspended? Is it going to be next year? When is it going to be? Okay, Jordan Addison got suspended, so 3 games. What can we expect? Ooh, 10 games. Okay, he's getting 6, but after it's going to start, or he's going to get a trial date, blah, blah, blah. Like, then finally it comes out, suspended, first 6 games. Where are we at here?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I think for the Kansas City Chiefs standpoint, like I would much rather this occur and just have him, suspended for the first 6 games rather than, a month or so ago, it was said that they were waiting till like week 6 to have this big announcement. Like this isn't LeBron James going down to Miami. Why are we waiting and putting a date on figuring this out? Like,
yeah,
just make your fucking decision. But in this case, like I said, I think it's probably better for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just, hey, you're gonna be without this guy for the first 6 weeks. Once he comes back, he's gonna be a little bit of extra juice that Kansas City doesn't probably actually necessarily need, but he's a great player, and him and Mahomes do have a great relationship. So
yeah, no, we talked about this, like you mentioned a little bit on a previous episode, and yeah, better for the team, probably better for Rashee Rice coming off that LCL PCL tear too. Give him a little bit more time, not have to ramp up and then shut it down, then ramp up again. They do have a tough first stretch here. We're going to talk about that. They play Chargers, Eagles, a couple other good teams, so it'll be interesting to see. He's definitely kind of one of their better wide receivers, if not their best. So, but nice to have a resolution. Kind of better, I think, for everybody, fantasy, everybody involved. Just like we know what it is now, and we can go ahead and move past it. So, a little bit of big time news there we had to chat about, but let's get into it, man. We've been waiting, chomping at the bit to have live bullets, as they say. We are hitting real football bets. We are getting real cashes just this very week in a couple days. College has been a nice little teaser, but the main event is the NFL. It's always going to be the National Football League. So let's get into it. Let's start off with our props of the week here. We give out 3 props each. We kind of break them down, say why we're doing it. I'll let you start off, my brother. What is your first prop of the 2025 NFL season?
Yeah, let's start off with a guy that was on my Pittsburgh Steelers last year, and Justin Fields, now the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, returning, or not necessarily returning, but playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1. I do think that he brings a little bit of extra juice to that Jets offense, but not against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the strong side of Justin Fields' game is obviously his rushing game. The problem with that is the Steelers just had him in their building less than a calendar year ago. And 2, they play running quarterbacks like really, really well. Like Lamar typically does not go off, at least on the ground, when he plays the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaden Daniels last year did not do a whole lot of anything on the ground when they played the Steelers. So I just think this is another situation where the Steelers know how to play those running quarterbacks because they have to twice a year in Lamar Jackson. So I'm taking Justin Fields under 43.5 rush yards at -113 for my first prop.
Yeah. Look,
Uh,
this is interesting for me because I was actually thinking of going the other way here.
okay.
I ultimately decided against it because I did kind of look at, what do they do to Lamar and what do they do to Jalen Hurts and type of things like that, different mobile quarterbacks.
Yep.
Um, but I think, part of what killed the Steelers was really running in between the tackles last year, a
Yep.
la Derrick
100%.
Henry playoff game, right? So I was thinking, hey, the Jets, they could get off a little bit on the ground, but I think it might be more of like a Braylon Allen type,
Braylon
between
Allen
the
or Breece Hall.
tackles,
Yes.
Breece Hall type of thing. So I don't mind that because you said it, they play Lamar twice a year. They're very familiar with how to contain a running quarterback.
Yep.
I do think Fields is going to look to run, but is he going to have that success? You mentioned Jaden Daniels. You mentioned, the first game they played Lamar, I think they had him to like under 20 or something like that. So
Yep.
they are used to it. So nice. Go a little contrarian because he's definitely getting some steam the other way. So good.
Yep.
All right. I will stick with the AFC North, and I'm going to go with a guy I absolutely love betting, and that is Mr. Joe Flacco. Joe
Ah.
Flacco over 235 and a half passing yards, minus 114 over at FanDuel. Look, he's been named the starting quarterback. This Bengals defense can't stop anything. I don't
Nope.
see this defense getting any better. They gave up over an average 223 and a half through the air, over 350 yards a game. Look, the Bengals offense is going to put up points. They're going to have to score. Like, there's no way the Browns are going to be able to just, win the game by scoring 10 points or anything like that.
Sure.
And when you look at Joe Flacco, he's still got it, man. When he's played like actually the full game, he came in a couple times for Anthony Richardson last year after he got hurt. But when
Yeah.
he's had like a full amount of reps and a full amount of passes, like he's hit this number. He went for 359 last year, 272, 330, 264. He's the starting quarterback. He's going up against a very porous defense. I love Joe Flacco here to start getting off. I will be playing some of his alt numbers, but for the official prop, give me 235 and a half passing yards on the over. I think that's a very easy for Flacco. Yeah, he's got some weapons there with Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Njoku. It's not, it's nothing that's going to light up the world, but I think Flacco's okay at this point,
Yeah.
throwing the ball 40 times. And if he has a couple interceptions, so be it. But he's going to
Yeah.
hit the big one. So
Yeah, no, I don't mind that play. Just to play a little bit of contrarian, I think the Bengals had, I believe, the youngest secondary in football last year. They had a
mhm.
lot of guys coming in for the first time in that or on that defense. So I would assume they've developed a little bit as a secondary. I still don't think they're going to be that great.
Right.
But like you kind of finished up there, like Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash or whatever, behind Jerry Jeudy, they don't have a ton, but I think they do have enough, especially in that tight end room with Njoku and
Harold
the
Fannin
rookie
now.
that they brought in Fannin. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind that one.
Nice. All right. What do you got next?
Second one, you know, this is week one. And so many things have changed this offseason, but as Days of Our Lives says, like sands through an hourglass, so are the days of our lives. And I just have to go back to Mike Evans anytime touchdown, dude. Like the dude is an absolute beast in the end zone.
It's simple,
Um,
stupid.
yeah,
Sometimes it's all it is, man.
exactly. Keep it simple. And and at plus money, like I don't know why he's at plus 110, but I'll take it.
I mean, Chris Godwin's not likely going to be out there.
Bill
Jalen
McMillan's
McMillan's
out.
going to be out. Cade Otton might be out. He's already basically their goal line back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I will tell you. I mean, Mike Evans anytime touchdown plus money in a game that I think there's going to be a ton of points kind of
Yep.
seems dumb not to play. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely no complaints with that one. All right,
And the two times that they played the Falcons last year, they played twice. He scored 3 touchdowns.
there you go.
So,
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, that one is kind of just like, how is it still plus money? I would definitely advise everyone to grab that now before that plus turns into a minus because it's only a matter of time.
yeah.
Which is why we like to get this early. We're recording this on Tuesday the 2nd, September 2nd here. Typically, we'll do this NFL show on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but moving this week, so we kind of pushed up the schedule. We pushed out college. We did college yesterday. We're
Yep.
doing NFL today, so moving things up a little bit. But it's week one. We've been thinking about this all off season. I don't think you guys mind getting it out a day early.
That's
So,
right. So what's your second prop? What do you got for
well,
us?
you threw out a nice plus money, so I got to follow you up, and I
Okay.
can't get one up here. So, who was the worst rush defense in the NFL last year?
Ooh.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
They're in the NFC South.
Okay. Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it is the Carolina Panthers. Not only were they the worst, they were the worst by 58 yards on average
Damn.
in rush yards per game. They
Yikes.
let up 179.8 rush yards a game. The second most was the New Orleans Saints at 141.
Shoo.
It's absolutely historic levels of just sucking.
That's pretty trash.
And who led the Jacksonville Jaguars in rushing yards last year?
I believe that would be Tank Bigsby.
Yes, Mr. Tank Bigsby. Give me Tank Bigsby, 50 plus rushing yards at plus 140 over on Bet365. Seems simple enough, but I am very high on Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
Again, he's shown that he can carry the load. I understand you have ETN. I understand you have, Tugboat Tootin there as a rookie. But I think Tank Bigsby, I think one, like there's just going to be running lanes for everybody. I
Yeah.
know Derek Brown is back, but he's coming off a big injury. I know they brought in
Yep.
Tershawn Wharton, but like a lot of those guys that made up such a bad, defense last
Yep.
year are still there. And if anything, they got rid of Shaq Thompson, one of their better linebackers. Christian Roseboom has trouble stopping the run.
Yeah.
When he was on the Rams, Saquon, was going all over him. So, yeah, give me Tank Bigsby, 50 plus rushing yards at plus 140. I think this is a ridiculous line. I think Tank Bigsby, again, last week 1, he came out, ran for 73 yards on just 12 carries.
Yep.
He's hit this number over 40. Like he typically either like they give him no carries and he doesn't have much, or when they actually give him like basically more than 7 carries, he hits this number. So going up against the worst rush defense last year, I love Tank Bigsby too.
Yeah, no, I really like that one as well. That was one that was that I thought pretty hard on, to be honest with you, and I ended up straying away just because, especially with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, basically, and Liam Cohen. Like you just don't know if he's going to be a Tank Bigsby guy, an ETN guy, a Tootin guy. Like you just don't know where the ball is going to be.
Absolutely. Which is
handed
why the
off to.
numbers.
But
so
I think,
low.
like you said, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities against a Carolina defense that really struggled a year ago. So I like that one.
All right, round us out for the third one here.
Final one. This is where, our injury and more injury analysis kind of stuff comes into play. But I'm taking Stephon Diggs coming off his ACL tear to have at least 50 receiving yards at minus 103.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that New England doesn't really have much behind him. Kind of like, Cleveland with Jerry Jeudy. Like the Patriots have a decent tight end in Hunter Henry, but I think that Las Vegas, in terms of their defense, their secondary is what I don't necessarily think too highly of. Like I just don't know if the Raiders are gonna be able to put somebody on Stephon Diggs to really pin him down. And we've already had all kinds of reports coming out that Stephon Diggs has looked really, really good coming off that ACL tear. So I think that, his first year in Buffalo, Josh Allen just took off from there. This might be Drake May's, coming out party with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, no, this is a bit of a wild play. As medical professionals who understand injuries, typically we look to fade these guys, especially early on. But we've talked about it all offseason. Stephon Diggs is showing a lot of steps and hitting a lot of metrics that you would want as someone who's going to kind of break the mold a little bit. He came back and was ready for training camp. He wasn't on the pup. Like he's been kind of working and with the ones for a month and plus now. And by pure volume, like you said, they need him to be the wide receiver 1. So they're going to throw in the ball a ton. So I like that play in Stephon Diggs. All right, my last one. Mr. Tyrone Tracy, New York Giants, RB1 over 57.5 rush yards, minus 113 there. Look, Tracy is a guy who, ever since that Seattle game, when they started trusting him and realized Devin Singletary wasn't worth much, he's kind of popped off. I mean, he had his coming out party with 18 rushes for 129 yards. This is a Washington defense that last time he played them, 16 carries, 66 yards. This is also a defense, not only were they not very good against the run, they gave up 137.5 yards per game last season, but they also traded away their best defensive tackle in Jonathan Allen. So, I think that they have a potential to be even worse on the ground. That's a hard guy to replace. So I absolutely love the Giants being able to take advantage of the running game here. I think they're going to have to run the ball as much as
Yep.
Malik Neighbors and is very fun. If they want to keep this close, they need to establish the run game there, and I think they can have some success. So give me Tyrone Tracy over 57.5 rush yards at -113.
I like it.
Yep. All right. So Derek, as a quick recap, he had Mike Evans anytime touchdown +110. Let's do ahead and do this. Mike Evans anytime
There we
touchdown
go.
+110. Justin Fields under 43.5 rush yards -113, and Stephon Diggs 50+ receiving yards at -103. All over at DraftKings. Myself, Joe Flacco over 235.5 pass yards -114 over at FanDuel. Tank Bigsby 50+ rush yards at +140 over at Bet365. And Tyrone Tracy over 57.5 rush yards at -113. We are big believers in trying to get the best of the number. So you're going to hear different books because we don't have any sponsors yet. So if we get a sponsor, that might change. But right now we don't. So we might as well take advantage of it. And we are going to tell you to shop around always. So we're going to get the best of the number as well. Those are the props of the week here. Now we're heading to our best bets, or what we like to call around here, Doc's prescription. We're giving you a prescription pad. This is what we would advise you to do in order to make your wallet nice and healthy there. Eventually it'll get out. So, as the very obliging host that I am, very, giving, I'll let you go first again.
Appreciate that. My first one is, let's see here. Let's go with the Detroit Lions. Being 2.5-point dogs against the Green Bay Packers. I think it's just one of those.
Parsons too now. Okay.
Yeah. Bring on Micah Parsons. They have probably the best tackle tandem in football in Taylor Decker and
that's fair.
So
yeah, that's fair.
I think it's just one of those things that like Detroit basically brings back everybody except for Ragnow in the center of that offensive line. Like they have two of the best, or one of the best wide receiver tandems in football in J-Mo and Rashawn, or what's his name?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
There you go. I'm on wrong. They have a couple of decent backs, decent. Jahmyr Gibbs, probably the top 3 back. Monty still really pounding the rock there.
Oh, the offense is going to go.
The offense is going to go, and the defense is healthy. Last year, it was not at all.
Right.
And I'm just not buying this hype right now with the Packers. I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to get Micah Parsons in the fold. And I think, this is where my intellectual brain comes into play. I'm trying to fade the public, a little bit.
Okay.
That might be jumping on the Packers. So
yeah,
give me the Lions. I mean, they've won the division 3 straight years now. Come on.
Yeah,
some points too.
They've owned the Packers of late. So I don't mind this. It's not one of my official plays there, but we both talked about this when we did our way too early picks at the beginning of last month. We were both on Detroit, and it was even +1.5 there. I understand that Micah Parsons comes, and maybe that makes a difference, but he hasn't been practicing for when he's been holding out. So he's having his first week of practice this week. He's dealing with a little bit of a back thing, which long-term not too concerned about. But this week, if it flares up, I mean, he could kind of be screwed there. So, I don't mind this at all. I'm not a big Jordan Love believer. I understand that Lambeau Fields isn't the easiest place to play, but, it shouldn't be very cold out. There shouldn't be any snow, that whole Jared Goff in the snow type thing, or in the outdoor weather. I don't think we have to worry about any of that. So, I don't mind that at all. Like it. All right, my first play, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons over 47.5, -105 over on ESPN Bet there. It's going to be a shootout city over in the hot Atlanta, in the dome down there. These two teams are teams that were in the top. Both of them were in the top 10 in total yards, points scored per game last year.
Yep.
Both teams with really, I think we're both pretty high on both these offenses, but it's the defenses where things start to get into question here, where, we think, Buccaneers with Baker, Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, Mega Buka we're pretty high on. They're going to get it going. And then the Falcons, same thing. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I think last time they played, 31-26 over easily. And then the game before that, 36-30 in overtime, another easy over. I mean, they're averaging close to, almost 60 points a game. So I think the fact that this is only 47.5, I will say both of the blindside protectors are out in this one. We're expecting Tristan Wirfs to not be able to suit up. I know they activated him and Godwin off the pup, but it was kind of like,
Right.
we think they could come back before week 4, but not week 1 type deal. And then
Mhm.
Caleb McGarry was a big injury for the Falcons, the right tackle who obviously protects the blind side of left-handed quarterback Michael
Yep.
Penix. But then they did trade, Atlanta did. I think it was Michael Jarrell who they brought in. So they brought somebody in to try to shore up that side. And who knows, maybe that leads to just some strip sacks and some turnovers that then lead to points too.
Yep.
So I think in this one, both offenses I have graded better than the defense. So it's pretty easy for me to think that this is going over, especially in a dome.
Yeah. No, I don't mind that one at all. Either really. Yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
Well, kind of. Well, hold on. I switched around. Okay, there we go. Next one, Denver, Tennessee under 42.5 at -110. I think Denver's going to have one of the best defenses in the league this year, at least a top 2-3 unit, if not the best defensive unit in all football.
Yeah.
Tennessee's offense, I don't think they're going to be able to score because you have a rookie in Cam Ward going up to Denver to play that vault defense. And, at the end of the day, Denver's offense is probably going to get it rolling a little bit, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to put up 30 in the first week. Bo Nix is still a second-year quarterback. Yes, he is older than normal, but I think it's going to take him a little bit to get things going again with that Sean Payton offense. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 35-3 game.
Yeah.
In
I was
Denver's
thinking,
favor. So
like 31-6 or something.
yeah, so I ended up going with the under. I would go with Denver. I think they're sitting at
Like
minus seven and a
7.5.
half right
Yeah.
now. I would go with that one too, and I probably will play that. But I just like the total going under a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Denver is the much better team. But I don't mind the under there because when you start getting this over 7 points, over a touchdown, the back door always kind of becomes a looming thing, right? So
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think Tennessee's gonna be able to score. I think the Denver defense is, in my opinion, the best defense in the league right now on paper. And then Tennessee, their defense is on paper improved. We'll see. But I don't think the Broncos are going to be a team that's absolutely lighting up the scoreboard there. So, I don't mind that play at all. All right. I will then go to, let's go with Jacksonville Jaguars -3.5 +100 over at DraftKings.
Yeah.
This one's pretty easy against the Carolina Panthers. This is in Jacksonville. And this is a situation where I am really high on the Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason, and I am pretty damn low on the Carolina Panthers. So it's a little bit of a simple handicap for me. I like a lot of what the Jaguars have done this offseason. Travis Hunter obviously adds a huge kind of target to their offense. I love Brian Thomas Jr. I talked about the running game and how they can expose that Carolina Panthers defense. And I'm not a Bryce Young believer. Now, Trevor Lawrence needs to prove it to me as well, but Liam Cohen seems to have some of that QB whisper, worked with Baker and things like that.
Right.
But I'm not ready to say that Bryce Young has shown us enough to believe that he's fully competent at this point.
For sure.
I think the Jags present a really big pass rush threat. They have a bunch of full of a bunch of first rounders on that line. And left tackle for the Carolina Panthers, Iguanu there, Cam Iguanu. I'm probably butchering the name, so apologize. But he just had his appendix taken out like a week ago. So he's, essentially at this point, very questionable to be able to play. So I think that's a huge hole for them if they're missing their left tackle. And I think if that Jags pass rush can start getting home, I think it can get ugly. So I like the Jags big here. Give me the Jags -3.5 +100. And that Florida Heat, man, that Florida Heat this time of year, don't play.
That's true. No, for those of you that don't know, we don't talk about picks ahead of time, whether it's props or lines and those kind of things. But I'm going to co-sign that one. Give me the Jags at -3.5, like you said. I think this is one of the more easy handicaps for me as well on the board for this Sunday. And I don't necessarily want to go into incredible detail because you've already done it. I think it's just one of those things that the Jags offense is going to have a little bit of an upgrade just with some competency with Liam Cohen. I do think that Travis Hunter provides that extra little boost that they might need both on the offense and potentially on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see what that ends up looking like. But give me the Jags.
Yeah, and this is also a situation where Carolina, where they were like kind of talking about, people were saying, "Oh, this is a sneaky, really good wide receiver room." Well, since then, Jalen Coker is on the IR with the quad strain. They traded away Adam Thielen, so it's Ted McMillan, Xavier Legette, and Hunter Renfro, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't like and who's their tight end right now? Jatavian Sanders, like somewhat like this is not that should not scare anybody. No. And especially with Bryce Young at the helm, I think the Jaguars, if they're going to be the team I think they're going to be this year, they should be able to handle this Carolina Panthers team.
Yep.
All right, so that was your third. So I'll jump right back over here. Give me the Los Angeles Rams -2.5 over at Bet365 -110. I know you're not going to like this one.
The Rams backer you are.
I am. You can check out our future show. We did a last call futures. We've done a bunch of shows. Obviously, we're just missing football. But surprise, surprise, I'm pretty high on the Rams this year. Now, the Flacco back thing obviously is a little bit concerning, but this is week 1. I think it's further in the year that we need to start worrying about how Flacco's back is going to hold up after he starts taking some of these hits and those things. But right now, week 1, he's coming in fairly healthy. You have a left tackle, Larrick Jackson, who is working through some blood clots. He's back practicing this week, so that's going to be huge for them. So this is a situation where Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, you're getting Higbee in the fold a bit, maybe Terrence Ferguson, Kyron Williams. Like, I love their top 3 offensive weapons with Matt Stafford at quarterback. I think the offensive line is going to be much more improved. They don't have a ton of injuries going into the year. And that defense, man, that defense is very young. They were working themselves into form very well, very good pass rush. For the Houston Texans, that offensive line has been a mess. 100%. If you want to make CJ Stroud look pedestrian, get pressure on him. And I think that's going to be the key here. Now, Houston has a great defense.
They do.
Hard to really say that, but I think it takes a veteran quarterback with some elite weapons to kind of start working that Houston defense. I just really think that this Rams defense is going to give this Houston offense some fits there. Double team Nico Collins and then just let somebody else beat you. So that's why I'm going to be on the Rams -2.5 at home to kick off week 1.
I like it, man. My final best bet for this week is the Cincinnati Bengals -5.5, which might come as a little bit of a surprise because the Bengals historically start slow. This is the first year that Joe Burrow has made any sort of an appearance in the preseason, and I don't think the Browns are going to be very good. The Browns as a whole have some talent on their roster, but just in positions that I don't think are going to equate to wins. And from a Bengals standpoint, we know what that offense is going to look like. It's going to be high flying. And I think to a certain extent, they're going to use last year's start as kind of like a little bit of a revenge angle and really try to get things rolling here. Defensively, I do think they're going to be better than last year. They can't be much worse. Right. With a little bit older secondary with a little bit more experience. I think Trey Hendrickson is going to be a nightmare for DeJuan Jones, the second-year left tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Being an Ohio State guy, the dude is massive. He is a mountain of a man. He cannot move very fast. Trey Hendrickson can't, and he's the sack king for a reason. So I do think that they are able to get to Joe Flacco a little bit, running game-wise for the Browns over the last year or two. Pedestrian at best.
Right.
I just think that the Bengals are going to come out and kind of put it on the Brownies this week.
As long as they let my boy Flacco get some garbage time yards, I'll be okay with it. But I'm shocked, man. You've fallen into the trap. That Bengals always look so good at the beginning of the year. They're always playing a shitty ass team. I can't do it. So good luck.
It's too well known that they start slow. Everybody's gonna be fading that. So
Good
We're
luck.
we're
Yeah, I'm
taking
gonna.
that and running with it. I'm fading the whole start slow thing. I think
Okay,
they
yeah.
end up winning by a touchdown at least.
Dive right into the stink, brother. I mean, hey, I'm staying away from that game completely, other than the Flacco yards. But hey, you're a brave soul. So, all right, last one for me. Chicago Bears plus 1.5 as the small home dog, minus 105 over at FanDuel here. This is kind of flipped. They were,
Yeah.
small favorites. Now they're small dogs here. Not really sure exactly why. I mean, Jordan Addison got suspended for the first 3 games, and they brought in Adam Thielen. Did the Vikings? So I'm not really sure where that's coming from. No really major injuries on that side, but you have essentially a rookie quarterback. I don't really care what anyone says. JJ McCarthy got injured in the preseason last year. He didn't play any real meaningful snaps. He's a rookie quarterback who we had question marks coming out of college, and now he's going to
Mhm.
be on the road in a hostile environment in a division rivalry game. No, a lot of these teams that have quote unquote like flipped and won the offseason, I've kind of been fading, a la the Patriots and the Panthers and things like that.
Yeah.
Bears I'm buying into because I think they did what you're supposed to do, which is build from the inside out. They've upgraded the offensive line. They've upgraded the defensive line. They've got Caleb Williams, that offensive mastermind in Ben Johnson. So I'm going to buy into the hype a little bit. I think this is a situation where the rookie quarterback looks a bit lost, like we saw in college football a lot, going on the road in a hostile environment.
Sure.
And I think that the Bears are able to take advantage here. So give me the Chicago plus 1.5 on Monday Night Football.
Don't mind that one. Don't mind that one either.
All right, man, let's get to some fun stuff here, and that is our Degen parlay. What's a Degen parlay, you ask? Well, a Degen parlay is one of those things where you look at it and you look at the number and you're like, there's no way that's going to hit.
Is
What? What
it?
if it does? So it is our nice little pizza bets, not from they're basically chop up a unit as small as you want to, whatever you're comfortable with, but do not put a lot of money behind this. But it is
Yeah.
something that we feel is crazy, but we could see happening.
Yep.
So as I line you up here, what is your first Degen parlay of the NFL season here?
Yeah, I got a little rookie running back 2-touchdown parlay.
Ooh, okay.
We got the best running back in however long coming into
Generational
the league.
prospect here.
Yeah, generational prospect in Ashton Genty going to get up against a completely rebuilt, basically, New England Patriots defense. Like the Patriots have been getting a lot of hype this
Yeah.
offseason, and Ashton Genty has been getting a lot of hype this offseason. I just know that Pete Carroll likes to run the ball a shit ton. And I would not be surprised if they once they get inside the 10-yard line, it's just Ashton Genty, Ashton Genty, Ashton Genty, and
Good plan. Works for Boise State a lot.
exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets plenty of looks at the end zone once they get inside the 10-yard line. So give me Ashton Genty to get 2 touchdowns, as well as RJ Harvey to get a couple tuds going up against the Tennessee defense. So this one's more so, I think the Denver Broncos are going to end up blowing him out, and he's just going to get a lot of garbage time rushes and eventually, get a couple of them in the end zone. So I think both of them will have plenty of looks to get in
Okay.
the end zone at least. And if it happens twice, bada bing, bada boom, we got 77-1.
Ashton Jensen and RJ Harvey, 2 touchdowns apiece,
Correct.
77-1.
Yes.
That's a way to bring it.
There
Well,
you go.
look, there must be something to water because, like Derek said, we do these independently and then we come together and we join the show. And this is the first time we're hearing about them. I also have a 2-touchdown parlay with 2 players.
Okay.
Mine are not rookies, but guys we've both talked about. Give me Tank Bigsby, 2 touchdowns, and Justin Fields, 2 touchdowns, 189-1. All right, I'll start with Bigsby. Tank Bigsby again. I've talked about how terrible this Carolina Panthers defense is, especially on the ground. Worst rush defense, historically bad last year. Talked about how I expect the Jags to be up in this game. I think they're going to work the Panthers. Tank Bigsby is a guy who, when it rains, it pours in a good way. He had two touchdown games. So, he only had 7 touchdowns, but in 2 games last year, he had 2 apiece for the 4. So he's a guy who's not unfamiliar to 2 touchdown games. And the other guy in that is Justin Fields, who also had 2 rushing touchdown games last season, one against the Colts and one against the Raiders. So these are guys where it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, they both did it twice last year. I think Justin Fields has a chip on his shoulder. It's a revenge game going up against those Steelers. The best thing he brings to the table is finding the end zone, around the end zone using his legs. So I know you may not want to hear it, but I think the Jets can have a little bit of success on the ground. And I think that Justin Fields is going to pose a little bit of threat around the red zone. He's going to stick his nose in there. So give me Tank Bigsby 2 touchdowns and Justin Fields 2 touchdowns at 189 to 1.
I'll trail the first half. I'm definitely fading the second half. Let's go, baby.
All right.
Rolling there in MetLife.
We will do a quick recap here before we move on to a Thursday night and Friday night football preview here. We're going to do an in-depth breakdown, talk about the games, talk about our best bets, and then we will get on out of here. Really quick, we'll start with Derek's best bets for NFL Week 1. He's got the Jags -3.5. He's got Detroit +2.5. Denver, Tennessee under, and he has the Cincinnati Bengals laying the 5.5 as they're home there, right? I believe the Bengals are at home.
Who, the Bengals?
Yeah.
No, they're on the road in Cleveland.
On the road. Oh my goodness. All right. Crazy man. For me, I've got the Bucks and the Falcons over 47.5. I've got the Bears as small home dogs there, +1.5. Jags, again, as Derek, laying 3.5 at home. And then the Rams laying 2.5 at home there against the Texans. And then for our Degen parlays, Derek's got the 2 rookies, Ashton GT, RJ Harvey, 2 touchdowns apiece for a beautiful 77-1. And then I've got Tank Bigsby, Justin Fields, 2 touchdowns apiece at 189-1 over on FanDuel. All right.
We've got a couple games to preview. We've got a game Thursday,
we've got a couple.
Friday.
We've got, unfortunately, defending Super Bowl champions. This game is going to hurt for me to talk about personally as a Giants fan, but we have to do it. Contractually obligated.
That's right.
We have the 0-0 Dallas Cowboys, the winless Dallas Cowboys, heading to take on the winless Philadelphia Eagles there in a matchup here. Obviously, the Eagles coming off that fluke Super Bowl, just their second one in franchise history. They have to host a home game. Again, NFL contractually obligated. But it is the first game of the NFL season, so we'll be excited there. Thursday, September 4th, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time over at the Lincoln Financial. Cowboys, big road underdogs there. Catching 8.5 points, -115. Over under sitting at 47.5. They are +310 on the money line. The Eagles laying 8.5, -105, and -395 on the money line as home favorites, big time home favorites here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this number has jumped up a bit. We talked about it in the offseason, and it was only 7. But when you trade away your best defensive player, that's kind of what happens here.
Yeah.
So as we typically do, I will go through some of the injuries for both teams, and then Derek is going to give us the initial analysis and we'll both give out our best bets. So for these Dallas Cowgirls here, a couple injuries of note. They were 7-10 last season. Big reason why their season fell off. Dak Prescott, hamstring avulsion repair, big surgery he needed, but he has 10 months of recovery. He's going to be perfectly fine, good to go. A couple guys who are not going to be so fine is DeMarvin Overshown. They're really special linebacker there, kind of floats around safety linebacker. He's on the IR with an ACL, MCL, and PCL tear. He's going to be out for at least the first 4 weeks, probably longer. Then you got a couple guys here who have a shot. Obviously, Micah Parsons is gone as Green Bay, but left tackle Tyler Garton returned for a full practice after getting a minor knee procedure. So I'm going to say he's probable. But the other guy is cornerback Trayvon Diggs. He had an ACL tear on his left knee in 2023. Then at the end of last season, he was dealing with some knee cartilage issue in the same knee. He had an offseason surgery. Reportedly a full practice yesterday. Don't really know. We both kind of talked about we don't love the outlook for this season or really his career. He's had 2 major surgeries on the same knee. Yeah. But it sounds like he's at least questionable chance to play. So we'll get a little bit more clarification. But for what I'm seeing, he's been at practice. So there is a decent chance that Diggs is out there. But I would say Guyton and Prescott are definitely going to be out there. For the Eagles side, pretty healthy. Nakobe Dean, stud linebacker, patellar tendon tear on the IR, as we told you he would be. He's going to be out for a decent part of the season. And then left guard Landon Dickerson went down. People were saying, is this a major injury? Wind up to be a little small meniscus tear. Got the procedure done. He had a full practice for the second time today. So it looks like he's going to be good to go. So both these teams fairly healthy. Philly's going to be without their linebacker Dean, and Dallas is going to be without their linebacker Overshone. But other than that, everybody else is going to be there. So how do you see this game playing out there?
Yeah. Where's this game? In Philly?
This is in Philly, yes.
And this is a banner night, right?
This is a banner night, correct?
And I mean, last I knew, the Eagles owned the Dallas Cowboys last year, right?
Pretty bad. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we can fully dive into that because both of those games were without Dak Prescott, which
Right.
definitely makes a difference.
Right.
I don't think it matters. I think the Eagles are going to really handle the Cowboys. I think defensively, really both teams have lost a lot. Dallas obviously trading away Micah Parsons, and then got
Right.
a couple key injuries on that side. But the Eagles lost a lot this offense or this offseason on the defensive side of the ball. I think their secondary is still one of the best in the league. They're in Philly. I don't know if the addition of George Pickens is going to necessarily make a big change in this game. I think overall Philly's just going to have a little bit too much for them because of what they have up front on the offensive side of the ball. Like they should be able to manhandle that Dallas front. You bring in a guy in Kenny Clark in that trade, but I don't necessarily know if he's going to be fully integrated into that Dallas defense a week after getting traded. So, Jerry Jones, we got to get one of those tackles to help with the defensive line to help with the running game. I agree. You got Saquon Barkley twice a year, but I don't think it matters. So give me the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles at -8.5.
Yeah. Well, there's absolutely no chance in hell that I am starting my 2025 NFL season off by betting on either of these teams. But what I will do is I will bet on the over. Give me the
Okay.
over 47.5. I like both these offenses here. Really, I'm kind of fading both these defenses, if I put it honestly.
Yeah.
The Cowboys defense, I think, you got a compromised Dig, no Overshone, no Micah Parsons. Like, they have a potential to be a bottom 10 defense in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle to generate pressure, especially against Hurts. And if you give Hurts times, he will hurt you.
Yep.
No pun intended. And then on the other side, I've got question marks on the Phillies defense. That cornerback 2 position right now, I think Adoree Jackson's slated to be in. I can promise you he's probably going to be hurt sometime by halftime in this game. He's been upped up. He's old guy now. He's used to be blazing fast, and that was kind of his calling card. Now he's kind of slowing down. I agree. Outside of him, they're decent, Quignon and Cooper DeJean, but I still got questions on their safety position. Sidney Brown, I've got some question marks between. And yeah, I think Dallas is going to have to throw the ball in order to have success. So I think it could be a little bit of a shootout. Ultimately, I do think that the Eagles do get the win, likely. But I think that with the 8.5, it's getting a little bit kind of testy with some backdoor cover situations.
Sure.
So just give me the over 47.5 there. What other bets do you got for us?
Yeah, going to your point there, I think Dallas is going to have to throw the ball, and Prescott's going to have to find George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb a lot. So give me Prescott over 248.5. I forgot to write down the odds on that, but you mentioned it. I think they're going to have to throw it because their running back room is just a bunch of ragtag dudes that, you bring in Javonte Williams. He didn't do jack shit last year in Denver.
No.
You bring in Jadon Blue out of Texas. I don't necessarily know if he's going to get a ton of touches or not. So you have 2 stud wide receivers. You might as well use them if you're Coach Schottenheimer. So yeah, give me Prescott. Over.
I like it.
Trying to find
in the same vein, while you're looking that up, give me Prescott over 36.5 pass attempts. They're a team that's going to really struggle to run the ball. There you go, -113 there over at DraftKings. Yeah, so give me Dak Prescott over 36.5 pass attempts at -117 over at DraftKings. This is a team that's going to really struggle to run the ball. They're going to, I think that They don't know who their running back is right now. The defensive line for the Eagles, at least interior, is going to be one of their strong suits. I got some questions on their edge rushers and how they're going to, suit up there. But this is a team that does not mind, Dak Prescott throwing the ball a ton. I mean, when we look at his game logs from last year, 39 attempts, 51 attempts, 42 attempts,
Yep.
38 attempts. Like, this is a team that they don't mind throwing the ball all the time. I don't think it's the best formula for a football team, but
Sure.
I think they're going to have to throw the ball. I think they're going to be behind. And yeah, he's going to pop over this number there. And then you were kind of mentioning it. I will take George Pickens over 55 and a half receiving yards at minus 114. I do think that, Quinion Mitchell is a really good cornerback. I think Cooper DeJean in the slot is really good. I
Yeah.
think they're going to be keying in on CeeDee Lamb a ton.
Yep.
I think that George Pickens can have some favorable matchups against, whether it's going to be Sidney Brown, whether it's going to be a Dory Jackson. Like, even like, he's really good at the deep ball. I think he's going to get at least 4 or 5 shots downfield. I think we only need to get 1 or 2 of those to get this here. Again, I think they're going to have to throw a ton. So maybe it's not the most efficient, but I think he's just going to get a lot of opportunity. And I'm taking Pickens over Dory Jackson any day. So I think he's the guy that could hurt them. So give me Pickens there.
Yeah, and going off of all of this, we think that they're going to have to throw the ball a shit ton. And I don't necessarily know, what they necessarily think about Javonte Williams or Jadon Blue. But give me where to go. Give me Javonte Williams under 10.5 rush attempts for this one. I just think that Dak Prescott's going to drop back and throw it 48 times at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
give
that's
me his under attempts at where to go. I really need to remember to write all this shit down. At minus 152.
150. Yeah, so paying the juice there, but I mean, I think that it makes sense. You got a very convoluted backfield, and then yeah, game script wise, I'm all over that as well. Look, it's week 1 for us too, so we're rusting the dust off there,
Right.
or the rust off, I should say. All right, how many more do you have left?
That's all I got for this
All right,
one.
so I've got 2 more, but one's a little bit of a fun one. Last real one, Devonta Smith, longest reception, over 21 and a half receiving yards at minus 115. I think he's one of their big play threats. Obviously, you have A.J. Brown, but
Yeah.
again, I think they're going to struggle to get a pass rush, especially without Micah Parsons. They're going to have time for Hurts to, decipher that defense, read, and throw the ball. If he has more than 3 seconds, he's going to find Devonta Smith, for a big play. So I love Devonta Smith, whether we saw it in the Super Bowl, that massive bomb as a touchdown, or one of those deep crossing routes that they like to run there. I like Smitty there to go ahead and pop over 21 and a half yards for his longest reception. And then finally, I think this has the potential to be a little bit of a blowout in the Eagles' direction. And if that's the case, everyone's aware of the Saquon Barkley touches thing. They probably would want to not have to have him get used a ton. So give me Will Shipley anytime touchdown 8-1 and last touchdown 28-1.
Okay.
Situation where Eagles are blowing him out, and hey, let's get the twos in there, and they'll still keep some of the offensive line in, and they can still run the ball. And Will Shipley finds his way as a sneak touchdown at the end, just to a little feel good for him and a lot of feel good for us, catching a 28-1 for the last touchdown there.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right, a little bit of a fun one there. Typically, we'd be done with the show, but it's week 1, and we have a special treat, and that is the Friday night Brazil game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, the division or the Super Bowl runner-ups, as we should say, the second place team. They are the de facto away team, I guess, against the LA Chargers, which honestly, there'll probably be just as many Chargers fans at this game anyway.
Sure.
But Chargers are catching 3 points at minus 105. They are plus 42 on the money line. And then KC laying 3 points, minus 115, minus 170 over on the money line. And then over under 45.5, minus 110 each way over on DraftKings there. So Kansas City, we talked about Rashee Rice, suspended 6 games, so obviously not going to be there. The only other player that's probably going to miss is wide receiver Jalen Royals, the rookie. He's dealing with the knee injury. He hasn't practiced this week. Doubtful at this point he's going to play.
Right.
But Hollywood Brown is fully practicing with his ankle injury he picked up a couple weeks ago. So he is probable and should play. On the Chargers side, the big one, Rashawn Slater, Achilles tear, out for the season. one of the best left tackles in the game. This is a massive injury. And then Najee Harris with the eye patch. Does he have a functioning eye? He got cleared for contact just this week. So, I don't think he's going to be super involved in the game plan, but he might
Right.
be out there. I think, week 2, definitely he'll start eating into that Amari and Hampton workload, but we'll see if he's active. I'd call him squarely questionable at this point, but still not expecting a ton there. How do you see this division rivalry playing out here in Brazil?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tight one, to be honest with you. I think as a whole, that division got better. Like all 4 teams, I think, got better. And
Right.
I think early on, the Chargers have a shot here. I think it's just one of those things that the Chiefs like to play in close games for whatever reason.
Right.
But give me the Chiefs in this one. I think it's just an experience thing. You got that travel type of schedule that I think the Chiefs are just a little bit more accustomed to doing funky things like that. I know they went over to Europe last year. I don't think the Chargers did, but I guess I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think
But at
so.
the end of the day, I think that the Chiefs' offensive line and bringing in Simmons is going to be a massive upgrade for them. And that was by far their biggest weakness last year, was keeping Patrick Mahomes in the pocket and just letting him be that facilitator to all the weapons that they have. I'm not necessarily afraid of the Chargers front 7 at this point. You got rid of Joey Bosa. You still got Khalil Mack, but the guy's 33, 34 years old at this
Yeah, he's
point.
pretty old.
He's not what he used to be. You're missing Rashawn Slater on at the tackle position for the Chargers, and I think Karlaftis and Chris Jones are gonna take advantage of that. So give me the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I think you hit it on the head there, man. I'm also going with the Chiefs -3 there, -115. I think that the left tackle situation on both teams is exactly what you already talked about, and exactly why I'm going with the Chiefs. You've got Rashawn Slater, one of the best left tackles, out. Now you have to reshift this offensive line late in the game. Bad news. And
Yeah.
then you bring in the rookie and Josh Simmons, who looks like a stud. And that was a really kind of Achilles heel for the Chiefs last year. They swept the Chargers last year. They won by 7, and then they only won by 2. But I think this situation where that Rashawn Slater, I think being out is huge. And I think that the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to come out really strong in this one. What other plays you got here other than just the spread?
Yeah, I'll start off with an anytime touchdown with Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's finally healthy, and most of the last couple of years, like the Chiefs used to be a pass heavy team with Patrick Mahomes. He lit the NFL up his first 2 or 3 seasons. They've started to shift over to a much more balanced offense, and with Pacheco now being fully healthy, I think that gives him a great opportunity to get in the end zone. So give me Pacheco at +165 to find the end zone.
Yeah, I see your Pacheco touchdown, and I raise you a Kareem Hunt touchdown.
I
Uh,
figured that was coming.
+360. He's my guy. He's cashed many times, of course, but 2 touchdown bets for me. I can't. It's +360. Are you kidding me? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Okay. Chiefs last year, they had 15 total rushing touchdowns. Kareem Hunt had 7 of those 15.
Yep.
Like, he's their goal line guy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like in the playoffs, he was the guy they were trusting. I know Pacheco and the health thing, but why? I think this price difference is insane.
Yep.
I think both could get in there. I mean, I do think that they're going to be trying to pound the rock a little bit. The Chargers historically are terrible against the run. So I don't hate the Pacheco play, but give me Kareem Hunt. +360 is a steal. And what's your next one?
Yeah, I don't know if Kareem Hunt's going to necessarily get in, but I did a deep dive in through the weeds, and I believe that there's some Swifties down there in
Okay.
wherever Brazil. Give me Travis Kelce to find the end zone in a big primetime spot after the
The big
engagement of
engagement.
the century. Yeah, give me Travis Kelce at +175.
As content people, that would be big for the NFL. It would do numbers. So
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't hate that. Travis Kelsey has played the Chargers very well. So I
Yeah.
did look at some Kelsey stuff. Ultimately, went a different direction, and the direction I went in was Hollywood Brown over 38.5 receiving yards, -113. Excuse me. I talked about Hollywood Brown this offseason. I think he's going to step up there.
Yeah.
He's healthy now, getting into the mold, the fix with Patrick Mahomes. No Rashee Rice, so he is their wide receiver too.
Yep.
I think that a lot of attention is going to be on Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce. I think Hollywood Brown is going to have to win some of those one-on-ones in order for this team to have some success. So I think over 38.5 yards is a very reasonable number there. So, again, Hollywood Brown at one point was a wide receiver one in this league not too long ago. So I
Yep.
do think that he's got some ability here. And with Patrick Mahomes, again, he's got a great quarterback to be throwing the ball. How many more do you got here?
I got one more.
All right, let's hear it.
Give me Justin Herbert under 226.5 passing yards. I think it's just one of those things where, the Chiefs have a couple really, really, really good cornerbacks, and the Chargers don't have very many really, really good wide receivers. You got Ladd McConkey, an aging Keenan Allen that's only been there for a month at this point, if that.
Yep.
And I just don't know if they're going to be able to really move the ball through the air. I think the mainstay, obviously, is Jim Harbaugh. He wants to pound the rock. That's why he drafted Joe Alt in the first round last year. But because you now don't have Rashawn Slater on the other side, like that opens up the ability for a pass rush and to rush some throws, and him not be able to sit back there and pick you apart with the wide receivers that he has. So give me the under on Justin Herbert passing yards. And looking back at last year when they played the Chiefs, he had 179 and 213, so both unders.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that play so much that I also have that play. Yep, Justin Herbert under 226.5 passing yards, minus 111. You really said it, man. Last year, what was it? 179 and 216. He went under in both games. Chiefs secondary is one of the strongest parts of their team, and the Chargers wide receivers, especially outside Ladd McConkey, probably one of the weaker points of their team. So, love that. I think if they want to have any chance of success, they got to establish the run, especially with a left tackle that, yes, Joe Alt is good, but then you bring out Trey Pipkins now. That offensive line is compromised, to say the least. Yep. All right, I've got just a couple of defensive plays because you know me, I got to give out some defensive plays. So I'll give them out really quick. Chargers linebacker Dan Henley over 8.5 total tackles at minus 105 there. He was 10 out of 16 to this number. He hit this number in 10 out of 16 games last season. He's their leading tackler. I think that the Chiefs are going to have sustained success on drives. I think he's going to have a double-digit tackle day. So give me Henley there. And then in the sack market, I like two players here, one for KC, one for LA. Chris Jones, minus 102. First time they played, he had 2 sacks. Again, I talked about this complements his offensive line. They're having to move some guys around, especially on the inside. And then for the Chargers, defensive end, Tuli Tuapalatu, no Joey Bosa, and the guy who led the team in sacks last year. Mm-hmm. You guessed it, Tuli Tuapalatu with 8. 176 he's at, plus 176. I think that number is way off. Yeah. I think people just see guys like Khalil Mack and some of these bigger names and just assume they have a better shot. But that's not what the numbers tell us per productivity. So I like Tuapalatu there and Chris Jones to have 1 sack apiece there. Don't mind those. All right, man. We did it. NFL Week 1 is rolling, back. Man. It's here. We've done it. This has been, look, I'm shaking. I've been excited this whole episode because I cannot wait for that ball to be kicked off and for us to start the NFL season officially in just 2 days.
Yep.
What do you got for the good people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, over here at Daily Fantasy Statement Games, I mean, we're putting out things all the time. This is going to be a weekly show, typically on Wednesday mornings, but maybe Tuesday evenings. We'll just have to see how things shape out here. But any follows, any subscribes are greatly appreciated. If you want to, trail us, drop a comment down there saying, hey, you guys are awesome. You make great picks. If you're fading us, screw you. We don't want to hear from you. That's fine. But overall, we appreciate you sticking around with us, just over an hour into this. So, what else you got?
Yeah, no, as a newer channel, we appreciate any love. Smash that like button, especially if you've been kicking it with us this much. If you're just as excited for football as we are, let's hang out all year and let's make some fucking money doing it. So Derek mentioned the schedule, but hey, we've got a ton of content going on here at DFSG Plus. We've also IDP Plus. If you're into the fantasy stuff, Derek does a waiver wire on Sunday nights that gets released Monday for the offense. Like I said, on Thursdays, I'm going to be doing a defensive injury report. I may be throwing in some offensive, but if you want to know some of the biggest injuries of the week, what to expect, what's going on, I'll be giving that out. And we do a college football show every single week as well. And this one. So typically, we'll record this on Tuesdays. It'll come out on Wednesdays. But who knows? Sometimes we just want to get it out sooner because the best of the lines are always early on. So if you like any of our bets, we highly encourage you to bet them now because it's very unlikely it's going to start going the other way, especially in the prop market.
No doubt.
All right, folks. You know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the Degen Docs, we've got your prescription. So from the Degen Docs and Professor Locks at DFSG Plus, we are out of here.